Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. I'm Reverend Theresa and welcome to my living room. I'm so happy you're here with us this morning, and thank you for inviting me into your home. I don't know, this is either the 11th or 12th Sunday morning that we've been live streaming. I didn't count this morning, but what I do know is we're not letting physical distancing keep us from connection, from continuing to connect with one another and continuing to build spiritual community. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity, every opportunity I have to do that. I want to say happy Memorial Day. And I am not going to be doing a memorial talk this morning. I don't think there's too many memorial parades this year or picnics, but I do honor all those that have passed in service to our country. And I encourage you, we posted last night on our YouTube channel, which is CSL Cultural Coast. There is last year's memorial talk, so if you're inclined, I invite you to go listen to that. And we had a beautiful memorial celebration last year. I want to just give you a brief little lesson on science of mind, what it is. It's a way of life. It's a philosophy. It's a philosophy that teaches the unity between all things, unity with our Creator and unity with the creative process itself. That it teaches that all life is the expression of the one, and that the one source, the one substance, the one intelligence of the universe is something that we participate in. And we participate in this creative process through our beliefs, through our thoughts, through our feelings. As Jesus said, it is done unto us as you believe. It is done unto you as you believe. And unfortunately, most of us are then creating from an unconscious level. We're creating from a place where we don't really intend to create from. And so that's what Science of Mind is about, is to teach us to be present and to become awake and aware of our thoughts so that we can make conscious choices, which I'm telling you is our superpower. And that's what we're going to talk about this morning. We are going to be talking about our superpowers. This morning I'm going to focus on the superpower of surrender. And you might think that that's an oxymoron, and we're going to talk about it. Because when we trust, when we have faith in that invisible source and substance of our life, when we can release stories and old beliefs and listen to the heart, listen to that voice within us that is ever present and always guiding, then life really becomes exciting and dynamic and something worthwhile. And so if you would please join me for a moment in just going to that place that I know is truly creative within, that place where we can lean in and trust. I trust that there is a power and a presence available to me right here and right now. It is a power for good. It is a power that wishes to express itself by means of me, by this message, by my love for each person on this call, for my knowing for each person that is joining us this morning, that their highest and best is seeking expression in, as, and through each one now. And so I affirm our willingness to open our hearts and open our minds to the greatest yet to be, which is seeking expression now. I'm grateful for the technology that brings us together, that supports our gathering here every Sunday. I am so grateful. I'm filled to overflowing. And so it is. So again, thanks for joining us. And I am really excited and grateful to present our musician this morning, because it's none other than my beloved Bobby Feverts. And Bobby is going to open us up with a song that he wrote a few years ago entitled Everything is Going My Way. So I am going to get out of his way so he can come in here and and start us off. Thanks.
Thank you, Theresa. Everything is going my way. I know I am aligned with spirit. Everything is going my way. Everything is going my way. I know I am aligned with spirit. Everything is going my way. You can see the world as us and them, then wonder why you can't get a break. No matter what happens, things go wrong. Life seems like a big mistake. I found a way to look at the world. You can believe we all are one. No matter what happens, things go my way. Life seems like a lot more fun. Everything is going my way. I know I am aligned with spirit. Everything is going my way. You can repeat your tales of stress and pain till we know them all by heart, or create a new story and be the hero. Create a life that's a work of art. Everything is going my way. I know I am aligned with spirit. Everything is going my way. Everything is going my way. I know I am aligned with spirit. Everything is going my way. Everything is going my way. Everything is going my way. All right. Thanks for all that love. I can feel it. And now we have Jennifer Johnston doing a reading for us.
Good morning. A poem from Shel Silverstein. Listen to the mustn'ts. Listen to the mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listens to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves. Then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be. A reading from this month's Science of Mind magazine. Dismantling guilt. Guilt is an emotion that plagues most of us at times, until it doesn't any longer. It arises when we say no to a child, a partner, a friend, or a colleague. It accompanies the sense of letting down someone we care about. It is experienced when we put self-care before the needs of others, when we feel we are inadequately available to show up for a person or situation. If we use the compassion of the divine feminine, we're able to understand subtler layers that give rise to the feeling, and healing is possible. Guilt occurs when there is a sense of not being enough. One might say, I feel guilty for letting so-and-so down. Underneath this, there is discomfort within, on the apparent level, that is due to hurting or letting down what is external to us. Deeper layers of truth are revealed if we examine this more closely. If the narrative that suggests that I've hurt or let down another is suspended, and awareness is brought back to the present moment, there is more unfolding that warrants curiosity. One truth that percolates from the depths is we are not responsible for the feelings that arise for another. If we censored ourselves to ensure another's feelings remain pleasant, we'd be censoring our true nature, the life force energy that is our birthright. We have a right to our human expression. The physical feeling that arises with the notion of not being enough, and therefore inadequately meeting the needs of what is external to us, is a potent invitation. The discomfort is often a sick feeling or contraction arising within the chest, the heart, the solar plexus, or the belly. Instead of perpetuating generations-old patterning of action stemming from avoidance of the I am not enough feeling, just pause, breathe into it, buy yourself space and say, I'm going to have to get back to you. Taking time to investigate our truth is honoring who we are. Life is too short to please others at the expense of ourselves. Move with compassion for others and yourself. In the words of Hafiz, even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, you owe me. Look at what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky.
Oh, thank you for that, Jennifer. Wow. This is a song from Karen Drucker called The Call of Something More. There's been a storm brewing inside of me, clouds moving round my heart. Something's changing that I can't see. I'm stuck on what is known as safe and not yet where I'm supposed to be. I feel a call of something more. I feel a call of something I've never felt before. I feel the call of something more. I feel the call, it's asking, what am I here for? 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 They say that pain pushes till the vision pulls. Feels like my safety nets have fallen down. Wish I had a chance and a map of where to go. Got this feeling in my soul. When I get there, I will know. I feel the call of something more. I feel the call of something I've never done before. I feel the call of something more. I feel the call and it's asking, what am I here for? 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 I want to make a move right now, though I don't know when or how. When I trust and know the truth, my heart will point the way. There is more of me to share, so today I do declare I will take that step in faith and let my light shine. Oh, I feel the call of something more. I feel the call of something I've never seen before. I feel the call of something more. I feel the call to be someone I've never been before. I feel the call of something more. I feel the call and it's asking, what am I here for? 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 What am I here for?
Thanks, Bobby. And thank you, Jennifer, too. I loved that reading. I loved it so much. Last week, I talked about going within and listening and finding answers for specific things that we may be dealing with. And all month long, we're talking about listening to the wisdom of the heart. And I'm going to continue that today. You know, last week we discussed COVID-19 and some of the questions that we're maybe faced with right now, decisions that we're trying to make about what's right for us with the reopening of restaurants and the beaches and hair salons and all that type of thing. And so we had a discussion about that last week, and I heard that you did enjoy that because it's relevant to what you're dealing with right now, what all of us are dealing with. But there's times in our lives before and after COVID-19 where we're faced with crossroads, where we're at a fork in the road, at a choice point, and we're trying to decide how to proceed. And it can be challenging. It can be challenging to know what path to follow, and we can be often overwhelmed by options and also confused by all the information, which I think is pretty common for most of us today. But these moments, if we have a deeper practice, well, I believe that these moments are calling us into a deeper practice. Let me say it that way, that when we recognize that we have an ability to turn within and hear guidance, to connect with our intuition, that's something that really is a valuable practice for us. It's a commodity, and it's a valuable practice for us to really hone in on. Science Mind teaches, Ernest Holmes wrote this: "There is within ourselves the answer to every question, the solution to every problem. The Spirit makes the demand and will answer that demand from within. When we allow ourselves to wait for the mental storm to die down, to be still and know." And he says that's the secret to the guidance, as it is of every problem in life. He says that a perturbed mind can never get the correct answer. Think about that. A perturbed mind can never get the correct answer. A stilled mind always can, because the answer comes from God within. So we want to know that we're aligned in that way. So my message this morning is the path is made clear, and surrender is my superpower. So forget leaping tall buildings, not that kind of superpower. I'm talking about leaping the hurdles of life. The hurdles like fear of making a mistake, so we become paralyzed and don't do nothing, and we don't move forward in life. Now I'm talking about leaping over our pain and our anger and our hatred and our judgments and resentments and criticisms and frustrations of all kinds, big or little, real or make-believe, because some of them are just in our minds. I think most of us just want life to ease up a bit. Yeah? And when you feel that way, it's time to surrender. Because when you surrender, the whole world opens up. The whole world opens up for us. When I was thinking about how I wanted to approach this talk, I was remembering times that I felt absolutely exasperated with life, by life. I didn't like what was going on. I didn't like where I was in life and the circumstances or situations that I was in. Things like episodes of raising brilliant, loving children in what felt like a very closed system, or the heartaches of a failed marriage, or the difficulties from the financial collapse of 2008. Each one of those resulted in me surrendering to the divine wisdom within. Each one of those resulted in me making choices that led me to improvements in my life. improved learning environments for my children. They led to personal growth and healing for myself. They led me into school, back into college, to discover my true calling and the deeper expression of the divine that wanted to live in, as, and through me. And also, each one of those was a dark night, had difficulties in it. In Christianity, we would call it the way of the cross, right? But I found God through my suffering. And I would imagine many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. But now I know that there's another option for us. There's another way around. Surrendering to what is. Leaning into our faith, a faith in something beyond the conditions and circumstances that we see in our lives. Utilizing and working through with trust in the invisible source and substance of our lives. The thing that animates us right now, you know, that's animating my breath, my lungs, my heart, pulsing blood through my system. I don't have to think about those things, right? That's the support of the universe. That's the support of spirit. The wisdom within, the guidance within, the answers we seek. They're right there. They're right there. And we don't have to just be in trouble in the dark night to recognize them, to find them, to hear them. Ernest Holmes wrote in The Philosophy of Jesus, we have direct access to an intelligence that can guide us, a life force or energy or spiritual something that can heal us, and a law of mind that we can use. Amen. This idea turned my life around. Case in point, yesterday morning, I had nothing written for this talk. I really didn't know where I wanted to take it, how I wanted to take it, but you know, I wasn't in a sense of panic about that. That happens to me very frequently, where my talks come together in the last moment, it seems like. But I have a trust in that. I have a trust in how that unfolds, and that was a learning process for me. But I have a daily routine. I have a daily spiritual practice that I rely upon. So when I sat down yesterday morning and began my meditation practice, I always begin with a reading in the Science of Mind magazine. And then I get still and quiet, and I begin to listen within, and I immediately was prompted to open my eyes. I'm surrounded by bookcases in my office, and I have one to my left, a small one, 3 shelves. I just scanned the top shelf, I scanned the middle shelf, scanned the bottom shelf, and my eye hit on a book. I pulled it out, Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. I simply went to the contents in the beginning, scanned it very quickly, and saw, oh, chapter 10, The Meaning of Surrender. And I started reading. And then I finished my meditation after that reading. It was that easy. And sometimes it's that easy. I promise you. And it can happen without being triggered, without resistance to what is, with conscious awareness through practice. Remember last week I talked about my upset that I had in seeing a news video, and I had quickly spiraled into anger, and I released a swear word, and then immediately upon that I started crying. This was something without thought. This was like the heart's beating. It's getting my attention. There was no thought at that moment until I heard you asked for it. And I did ask for it, yes. I have set an intention before myself to grow emotionally, to grow spiritually, to use my life experiences for that growth. And here I was, smack dab in one, and so I went right to my cushion, right to my meditation spot, and listened. I got quiet. I want to back up and talk about surrender the way Eckhart Tolle talks about surrender. I had last night when I was going to sleep, it was around 10:30, 10:45, and the irony of the meme that I posted last night here on Facebook with the little girl, the cartoon character, where she's like a superhero and she says her superpower is surrender. I had this flash of the irony of a superhero with a white surrender flag, you know, like how that's not superhero-ish, right? But I want to make sure that you understand where I'm coming from with the word surrender. I'm not talking about that. True surrender, as I understand it, as Eckhart Tolle talks about it, true surrender is not about defeat. It is not about giving up. It is not about being lethargic in any way, shape, or form. It's entirely different than that. Okay? It's not about being passive. It's not about becoming a doormat. And it doesn't mean that we stop making plans for our lives, or we don't want to desire and initiate positive changes in our lives. It doesn't mean that either. He says surrender is the simple but profound wisdom of yielding to rather than opposing the flow of life, right? It's letting go of resistance and moving into life fully, freely. It's an unconditioned acceptance of what is. You know, right now we're at a stay at home or a be careful, wear a mask, those kinds of things, right? Do we resist against it and fret and moan about it all the time, or do we lean into it? Being present and available to what is. And we can look very deeply, because there's opportunities always. You know, I don't believe in lessons, that we're given these lessons to learn, but I do believe that every condition in life that is other than what we want it to be holds an opportunity for us to lean into it and find, through conscious awareness, a gift, a jewel for us. So we want to release our judgments. And, you know, I believe that that's common to all of us. Through my years of being a practitioner, a prayer partner, you know, some 20, 25 years of doing that. And now as a minister, it is common to most people that we want to stop being judgmental. We want to let go of the negativity in our lives, right? So that story that I shared last week and that I just mentioned, where I was immediately caught up in my anger about a news briefing that was up against what I want. I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to have resistance towards anyone or anything in life. I want a world that works for everyone. I want to see a world where love is the norm, acceptance is the norm. But what happens in an unconscious moment, we struggle against the very thing that we don't want, right? So it requires our conscious awareness of that, being present, being very, very present to what we feel, to our desires and our yearnings and our feelings of all kinds. And man, when we do that, it is so freeing. It is simply freedom to go there. It really is. Resistance is in the conditioned mind. Resistance to what is lies in the conditioned mind. It is not in the heart. It is not of the heart. It is not of love, right? So again, I'm not talking about resignation. And I'm talking about, yes, we can still initiate change, but we want to do so consciously. You know, this is really good. I have a phrase that I like to say over and over, that we're always at a point of choice. We're always at a point of choice. But Eckhart Tolle had a real subtle way, a distinction about that idea that we're always at a point of choice. He said, do we choose to be unhappy? No. Not consciously, we don't. So, as I said earlier in my welcome, that's what Science of Mind is about, is to help us wake up to those unconscious, conditioned responses and habitual ways of being that we have in the world. Because when we're conscious, we do make other choices. We have the opportunity to make other choices. But at other times, when we're operating on autopilot, we're creating more of the same stuff. And Eckhart Tolle says that's normal, but dysfunctional. I really like that. It's normal because that's how we were raised. That's what our society does. That is, that's cultural for us, to not spend time in meditation, to spend time in silence. You know, it's been, you know, in the last 50 years maybe in our culture that we've infiltrated a little bit of the Eastern philosophies and practices of meditation. Eckhart Tolle says, there's something within you that remains unaffected by transient circumstances. And I want to tell you that transient circumstances is really everything in your life. Everything in your life. So he goes on to say, only through surrender, only through leaning into recognition of, only leaning into and surrendering to the circumstances, those transient circumstances, do we have access to that something, to that inner wisdom, to that brilliance. And we can apply this idea to our relationships, to illnesses, to diagnoses. We can relate it to physical and emotional pain, anything. Ernest Holmes writes that as we listen to the divine wisdom within, we receive that inspiration and guidance that we're looking for, right? So he goes on to say, as you speak your word, think your thoughts, or make your affirmations with complete conviction, which of course complete conviction would entail having a conscious choice, right? Complete conviction. I know that this is what I want, this is what I'm claiming for myself, right? He says, then we discover that we're using a power that actually is, that always does respond to us. From that place within us, that there's an infinite source of intelligence and wisdom and creative power at our disposal, and we can use it. That is what Science of Mind is all about. And that is a superpower. That recharges and reinvigorates our lives in ways that we've not ever known. We are courting the presence and directing the law. Courting the presence. Communing with, as Thomas Troward would say. And then directing the law from a conscious place. So we start with meditation and surrender and having a deep connection with life itself. Eckhart Tolle offers in his book a great analogy of what this is like, and I really appreciated this. He talks about when you're walking at night through a dense fog. So just imagine walking at night in a really heavy fog. There's fog all in front of you, around you, behind you. I went over the Skyway one night like that. Could not see a thing in front of me. Okay? Fog, dense, heavy fog all around you. But yet you have a powerful flashlight. And that flashlight cuts through the fog. It cuts through the fog, and it makes a very clear, distinctive path in which you follow. And you continue to follow. Now the fog, this dense fog around us, represents the conditions of life. It represents our past and our future. And sometimes we can be just so thickly entrenched in all of it that we don't see, but yet that flashlight represents the conscious presence within us, our ability to tune in and turn on, right? That's what the flashlight is. And thus we see the clear space, which really is where our power lies. That's the now moment for us to consciously make a new choice. It's the quality of our consciousness in any now moment, in any given moment, that directs our future. This is Science of Mind 101. We can take actions and make decisions and improve our circumstances when we surrender in that moment, when we stop fighting. Eckhart Tolle calls this surrendered action. Surrendered action. The Taoists use the phrase wu-wei. W-U-W-E-I. Wu-wei. It's effortless action. It's really about flow. It's about allowing. It's about going with nature, allowing life to move in the way that it does, and then us move into that rhythm with it, not resisting it, not fighting it. Surrender, moving into it. You know, more struggle only brings more struggle. The quality of our consciousness in the now moment is what determines our future. Again, this is what Science Mind teaches. This is Science Mind 101. We're always creating, and we're either creating from a conscious choice or an unconscious choice. And let me tell you, because I've been in both places, and I still step in both places at sometimes, the conscious choices are way better. They're way better, way more elevated. So, how do we do it? How do we do this? I'm going to use some from Eckhart Tolle's book here, some from what I know of Science Mind, and some from neuroscience, to give you a couple steps here that you can follow. We want to start by acknowledging our resistance, not turning away from it, but acknowledging that we have resistance, and observe that. Become intimate with it. Become intimate with how your mind creates stories, the angles that it does, how it labels a situation, how it labels all the participants, all the actors in the story, including yourself. You want to watch your thought processes, right? And while you're doing that, then allow the feelings to come up and allow them to get your attention. Feel into the energy of the emotion, because it has something to tell you. It's not there by accident. It's there as a gift. So witness your resistance, witness your stories, witness the train of thought that takes place, and do it in real time if you can. And if you can't do it in real time, if you're in a situation and you need to postpone your deep inquiry, take a breath, make a note, and maybe do some journaling later. I find journaling really, really helpful in these situations. But Eckhart Tolle says, by focusing all your attention on the now, the unconscious resistance is made conscious. And again, it's our superpower. That is our superpower. And then the other thing I want to remind you is to be curious about it, to ask questions when you're listening, to really have a light-heartedness around it. This past Thursday, Bobby and I had the opportunity to be on a Zoom call with Mark Waldman. Mark Waldman is an author, professor. He writes the science articles in the Science Mind magazine. So you read him every month. I hope you do. And he's got brilliant books out there, so look him up if you don't know him. He is a neuroscientific researcher, specifically working around spirituality and meditation and what happens with the brain when we do these spiritual practices. So he was on a Zoom call talking to Centers for Spiritual Living ministers about the anxiety of the pandemic. And one of the things that he said that just so struck me was, don't take your anxiety seriously. I love it, right? Don't take your anxiety seriously. Have a curious nature about it. Be playful and have fun. He said that the research shows that the brain actually lights up in an area that he called the intuitive problem solving. And it kicks in then. Our intuitive problem solving kicks in. When we let go, when we release the resistance, when we are playful. He said, relax to intuit. I-N-T-U-I-T, intuit, intuition. Relax to intuit. Surrender. Let go. Drop your resistance. Stop thinking about the difficulty, whatever it is then. Stop the ruminating and think about God instead. This is the wisdom of Emmett Fox and the Golden Key, which is a fabulous tiny little booklet. It's $4 on Amazon. I looked it up this morning. It's available. Go check it out. Fabulous little booklet to remind you no matter whatever the problem is, get silent, go within, know God's present. So that would be your next step after you've really looked into this and investigated with a playfulness, a lightheartedness. In the Science Mind textbook, page 331, we read, "We are guided daily by divine intelligence into paths of peace, wherein the soul recognizes its source and meets it in a joyful union, in a complete at-one-ment." At-one-ment. If you want to learn to embody these ideas, if you want to learn spiritual mind treatment, which is an affirmative way of prayer, it's a specific way to open your mind to greater possibilities, what Ralph Waldo Emerson said is the highest possibilities. That should be what our prayer is. I invite you to join my class. I'm starting a new Science Mind foundational course called Principles and Practices, Spiritual Principles and Practices. It begins this Wednesday. I'm going to have a day class and an evening class. It's on Zoom, and so I invite everyone. You're going to have an opportunity in that class to work on a personal goal, to discover, uncover what it is that maybe is your next step in life. And then we do our practices around that. Practices such as self-awareness, practicing the presence, and developing a daily habit, a daily practice around those. So this is what I know for you this morning, is that as you surrender to the divine wisdom and the love that's within and all around, everything else falls into place. Everything else falls into place. The crooked places are made straight. The path is made clear. And this is what I know. And so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Theresa. Boy, oh boy. I want to live like that. I'm going to take the class. Here's a song from another song from Karen Drucker. It's called I Know. I don't know how I know, but I know that I know. I need to remember that I know. Yes, I know, I always know. I need to trust that I know, 'cause it's so obvious that I know. I need to tell my head that I know, 'cause my heart knows that I know. When I don't trust that I know, I forget how much I know. If I breathe and surrender, I remember that I know. Why do I doubt that I know? Who else but me would know? When I forget, you can remind me that I know, I always know. When I don't trust that I know, then I forget how much I know. If I breathe and surrender, I remember that it's so. I'm gonna trust that I know. Tell myself that I know. If I forget, please remind me that I know, I always know. Yes, I know, I always know. Oh, I know, I always know. Yes, I know. Thank you.
Peanut gallery here. Peanut gallery's here. Woohoo! Yay! Well, thank you so much, Bobby. I love it. I like you being the guest.
I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
And I'm very appreciative to Karen Drucker for 2 of those songs. She has been so generous with to the musicians and offered her songs to be out here on our recordings, and I just really appreciate that generosity. I also appreciate your support of our oh, sorry, I missed something. Sorry. I appreciate your support of our ministry and helping us to keep this going during this time, and ensuring that we'll be viable and available once we start meeting again, whatever that's going to look like. So thank you for that. Evan is posting right now our ways of giving. There's 4 different ways you can give. You can text to give, you can use PayPal, you can mail a check, and if you mail a check, put a little note in there and tell me how you're doing, because I just really am appreciating that. And then we're going to read, she also has the Ernest Holmes poem or prayer that we've been reading together, and I really do love this, and I hope that it's something that you can use daily as well. And of course, as we're thinking about this for ourselves and the increase of abundance, we want to remember that what we choose for ourselves, what we wish for ourselves, we want for everyone, right? So we want to spread the wealth, the love and the wealth. Good and more good is mine.
An ever-increasing good is mine.
There is no limit to the good which is mine.
Everywhere I go, I see this good, I feel it, I experience it.
It crowds itself against me, flows through me, expresses itself in me, and multiplies itself around me.
I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on.
Just a few announcements, just a couple reminders that we are, we're meeting here every Sunday here and on YouTube, And we also have a Tuesday evening prayer circle on Zoom, and we have a Thursday evening meditation that's hosted by Julie Birch. It's fabulous. I'm on it every Thursday and just really honing in my meditation skills. It's very good. So you're invited to both of those, either one or both. And if you are not on our email list, the links are sent out every Tuesday for both of those events. And if you're not on our email list, you can go to our website and sign up for the newsletter, and then that way you will begin receiving those. You would receive 2 a week. I send out usually 2 a week. And the website is
CSLCulturalCoast.org.
Yeah, CSLCulturalCoast.org. And let's see, I also, just another note about the class. So it's Wednesday, day and evening. I've got a 2 o'clock class or a 6 o'clock class by Zoom. If you're not comfortable with Zoom, let me know and I'll do a practice session with you or something, or meet you early that first day and make sure that you feel comfortable with it. All of our members get a 20% discount on that. And I also want to let you know that I don't want anybody to not take it because they feel strapped for money. I know that this is a difficult period for a lot of people, and if you're one of those people, talk to me. I want this message, and I want people to be able to change their thinking and change their life, right? So talk to me. Give me a phone call or an email. Go to the website, get on the email list, email me, let me know, find some way. We're going to have a Zoom call after this, and I'm going to post the link right now. And so if you want to come on to that and give me your email or get my phone number or whatever, I invite you to do that. Okay? This is about being with one another and creating community. And I think that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, well, if you need prayer support, if you would like prayer support, email us prayer@cslculturalcoast.org, or get a hold of me or Elaine or Tom, Elaine Silver or Tom Dieter. And boy, oh boy, we're like a month away from having a few more practitioners.
Yeah, we
too,
are.
So it's
We'll
very
be celebrating
exciting
that
time.
soon.
Yeah.
All right, you want to close with the song and Let It Shine, and I'm going to go post the link, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
All right.
Love you guys. Bye.
There's a light at the center of everyone. It can light up the world just like the sun. There's a flame within us that can light our way. It can burn away the darkness of a troubled day. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Whenever you see darkness, you got to know that the light is within you. Everywhere you go, whatever you are facing, whatever's on your mind, you can help illuminate it. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Whoa! See you on Zoom.